Hi, Seema Raghunath here again, and today's topic is the fish rots head down. I'm sure that some of you have heard of this saying, although it's not so popular in India. I think that this is more common in the Far East. That's because apparently Confucius has said this a couple of times, and Rumi has mentioned it somewhere. There are people in Egypt, there are people in I think Greece and Italy who take credit for it the same way. But regardless of the genesis, there is a lot of meat there. The fish rots head down. Scientifically, it doesn't make any sense because you know and I know that when an animal dies, it's usually the stomach where the rotting begins, and logically so because remnants of food they continue to kind of break down, and this time the breaking down is not getting out of the system, because of which the rotting spreads from inside the intestines to everything else inside the stomach, and then from there moves on to eat up the rest of the body. Why do you think that this particular adage has a lot of value in leadership development? See, I wish this was a webinar and I could have had some interaction here, but I'm going to cut the chase and come to the point. The fish rots head down is actually indicative of leadership issues. It refers to organizations, countries, spiritual outfits, non-government organizations, the government itself, anywhere where there is a problem. The problem always is at the top. You can never, ever associate the issue with the people below. And as much as leaders sometimes deflect the problem and prefer to blame someone else, it is impossible for an organization to not have had a top-down effect on problems. So when organization culture is weak, when leadership traits are either weak or non-existent, or if there is a genesis which is kind of questionable, like the organization itself didn't have a great history in its making and it's shaped to become whatever it is today, there will be legacy cultural issues. Those cultural issues could be compromise of ethics, it can be compromise of compliances, it can be compromise of integrity, it can be compromise of everything that the rest of the world understands as fundamental, basic leadership requirements. When such organizations don't take strict measures, when they do not have a management that has the gumption to call a spade and actually go out to dig out the problem, or dig out a person who's a problem, or to really clean and spruce up the environment, what you end up doing is perpetuate a problem. The perpetuation of a problem means that now issues and problems that were at the top will slowly start to eat into the rest of the body, and then you're going to see that the entire culture is built like that. If it is okay to hide and stash away money and do fake bills and fake checks and many other things and do boo 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 boo, this becomes okay. This boo 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 becomes okay for everyone else, and everyone else in the system becomes not just party to these activities, they become party to the lying, they become party to the cheating, they become party to the hiding of facts. And not until gravity of the situation goes so far and beyond that it gets completely exposed, does a problem then get addressed, which is too late. So organizations that do not have the mental wherewithal, do not have respect for creating the right kind of climate, culture, principles, okay, ethical principles, will be companies where you see that the head is rotten and they allow it to rot and they let it stay and they don't really disturb it. They're not even interested in poking it to kind of wake it up and say, you need to fix this. No. In these kind of irresponsible organizations, you're going to see that the aftermath is that the people suffer. It is always the body that will suffer. The suffering, to a very large extent, kind of skips the head of the fish, because they would have kind of created some kind of backup plans to protect themselves. The sacrifice at that altar is the people. Which is why, in this age where people leadership is the be all and the end all of leadership roles, it is time that we take responsibility and respect the fact that the head is very, very important. Whether you call it the top triangle, whether you call it the head of the fish, whether you call it our leadership, yeah, management, very, very important. You see a problem, you got to fix it. You see an issue, you got to address it. You see a gap, you got to fill it. You see a cultural blip, you got to fix it. And if you don't have what it takes to do this, get someone else to come and do this for you. But never make the mistake of letting it just be, because it's going to turn into a black hole, a big black hole that eats up the rest of the body too. So this idea, which is kind of ancient, dates back to maybe 1200 Common Era, is pretty potent. It still has validity and relevance in our current time, and we have to give marks to our ancestors who actually came up with these kind of adages. They're so useful because in a given moment, it's so easy. You see a problem and all you have to say is, you know what? The fish always rots head down. Thank you.